Grab your cocktail and get ready for this episode of the Old Fashion Masonic Podcast. Welcome to the Old Fashion Masonic Podcast, where we talk all things Freemasons while drinking an old fashioned. I'm Brian, and what in kissing your first cousin on the mouth is going on in Florida? Florida. If you guys haven't seen the two episodes before leading in, we'll give you a little bit of a rewind. Grand lodges have been unrecognized by Florida. Several lodge charters have been pulled. Now we're looking at 8, maybe closer to 10 now Masons, due to a gag order, have Masonic charges filed on them by the Grand Master of Florida. So that is a hot mess. So there's a whole file on Florida. Well, I'm not going to tell you what it's all about, but there is a lot of stuff in here on Florida. I'm looking at multiple Masonic charges. Multiple. So here's the interesting thing. I'm not going to mention names because that's as far as who's got charges against them. But let me just make some general observations. If I was a Florida Mason, a lot of the Floridians reach out. Oh my gosh, help us. Well, this dude doesn't wear a cape. I can't help you, but I can sure give you some sound advice. So here's some interesting things. The gag order that went out, you've all seen the gag order. If you haven't, go to our Facebook page and you'll see a post of the gag order. A lot of the sightings from these many Masonic charges between what's in my hand and in this folder are citing likes or stuff from posts prior to the gag order. Nothing that I've read on any of these are just blasphemous from what I've seen, right? I'm still not really sure. You know, we all know Masonry is not a democracy, but man, does Florida have a committee? Is this a committee that's out? Is this the stalking committee? Is this the social media stalking committee? The SMC? The SMSC? Is that what this is? And are they going out just looking and screenshotting and sending these over to the Grand Master? So charges, I mean, is that, I don't know that that's a crime. You know, I'm not a legal scholar. I can barely speak the English language, but that almost seems a little strange, just going out and watching everything that's going on out there with your Masons. Now, again, if they're out there throwing some shade, you know, maybe you need to talk to them and give them some timely counsel. But this seems a little cray-cray in Florida. So several of these are mentioning, again, things prior to the gag order. Here's the other thing. How do you know that, I'm pretty savvy on the computer. I've been known to, when somebody's trying to hack me, maybe hack them back. How do you know that these guys are liking them, posting them? How do we know that the evidence that's being sent over isn't doctored? It'd really be interesting. None of the brothers in Florida and that are under charges are talking, as I probably wouldn't either if I had somebody running a little hot on me. So here's what, and maybe I'm wrong here. Here's where I haven't heard about a Masonic charge on. A past Grand Master, Jorge Aladro. I'm looking at a post from August 5th from Brother Aladro. It's a pretty long post. Page is open. That's how I can get to it. It's kind of, I'm going to read this post. So I don't know if there's charges. Somebody may say, well, maybe that's not against the Grand Lodge of Florida. Well, maybe it is. I'll just kind of run through this and because I've read the charges that are against some of the other brothers of their social media posts, and they're not even close, in my opinion, for what's written here. So from Jorge Aladro, August 5th, for those who believe in everything you read on Facebook, well, there's my case right there if I'm being charged, especially some fake individuals who wished to do harm to not only me, but the institution. I'm assuming he's Masonry, that he's referring to Masonry while you're talking about Masonry. I say do as you will your racist commentary will only be heard by a minority of ill-intended individuals, which everyone knows. Beware of the wolves in sheep clothing. Who's he talking about? Or is he talking about other Masons? If he is, that's a problem. Is he talking about the Grand Lodge? If he is, that's a problem. Where are his charges? I'll continue. I know this will be seen as a challenge to two fake ones thus far. They hide behind the made-up names, as they've done many times. I'm assuming he's talking about fake Facebook accounts. Maybe some of these brothers that have been charged, maybe there's a fake Facebook account set up under their name. Something that I would take into account if I had Masonic. I don't know about your jurisdiction, but in our jurisdiction, if somebody shoots a shot at you and it ends up being BS, they can turn right back around and turn the barrels at you. So anybody that knows, they know. So that would be part of my game plan for sure if I was a Florida Mason. I'll kind of continue. We've all seen anonymous letters before, the damage they have caused our Grand Lodge and individual members. So he's talking about Masonry right now on Facebook. Now is Facebook and other social media. This once again proves that evil does exist and takes every opportunity it can to do harm. My sin, he's admitted to a sin, is wanting to aspire to serve the only thing that I've ever belonged to and dedicated 40 years of my life in service, I'm assuming it's Masonry, and would not change it for the world. Brothers, do not repost unless you have fact-checked the story, whether about Freemasonry or anything else. In the end, it helps those who are wanting to cause us harm. Reading Mr. Aladro's words, I could deem that this is actually, maybe you're throwing some shade against Masonry in Florida. You know, something's going on. Who are you talking about? You're talking about the Masons that are running amok, or you're talking about the Grand Lodge? Either or, I could make the argument, you, my friend, are violating that gag order. Now, you may argue, somebody may argue, well, this was August 5th. I would tell you, in my hands, I'm holding Masonic charges that mention charges before, on, or after that time period. I'll continue with his post. I'll stay the course. I will not be scared. I will not run. I will stand for what I believe, and I believe that brotherly love, relief, and truth will carry the day. I buy that. After all, this does not have a place in our fraternity nor America. Right, either does a gag order. I agree. Remember this, my brothers, all caps and in quotes. Evil succeeds where good men are indifferent. I subscribe to that. Will you be indifferent, or will you stand with me and not let evil succeed? You know, if I'm a Florida Mason, I agree with Jorge Aladro. If there is evil going on with the leadership, I would stand and not let evil succeed. Just using your words, maybe it's meant a different way. But again, if I'm tossing charges around in Florida, I might definitely take a look at this post. If you're throwing Masonic charges around, I would certainly want to know, why is there no shade being thrown this way if I'm getting a little bit of the shade? Because again, I've physically seen the charges, multiple charges. He ends with, this is not about politics. This is about right and wrong. Now, it would be interesting if you went to that post, if you're going to ring up Mr. Aladro later, because I could argue both sides of this. Anybody that's liked, heart, wowed, any of that, are they? The 30 comments at the time that I received this, are those folks eligible for suspension or expulsion? If the people liked it, are you pro-Grand Lodge or are you anti-Masonry? These would just be some questions that I would ask if the jurisdiction that I was in was running amok. The other interesting thing that I've heard, Floridians, correct me where I'm wrong, better send me an email, because if you like it or post it here, you'll probably get rung up. Widow Sons, they shut down there. I've also heard maybe a large contingency of the Widow Sons will be arriving at the Florida Grand Lodge in May. So the other interesting thing I'm curious about with everything going on, I know if this was going on in our jurisdiction, one, we would handle it. We would go sit down. Our leadership is awesome. But if let's say they were turds, I believe there would be a whole bunch of people trying to run for office, and they would make their case known why, what's going on. Now, so in Florida with the gag order, this is interesting. If somebody's running, they can't promote it. But guess what? Oh, Brother Byrd over here, he might have an idea of some names that might be running out there. So stay tuned. I'm in Florida. I'm in Florida more than some folks know, and we have a little bit of ties down there, Tampa area. So stay tuned. And if you know of somebody that's running, send me an email. But if you're the one running, don't do it. But have your boys do it. Send it to me. I want to kind of promote. Maybe the Floridians, because they're under a gag order, have no idea that there are other people running. And you know what? I'll as a good brother, I'll just talk about some other brothers that may or may not be running. But I have a feeling this may be one of the most attended Grand Lodge sessions in Florida ever. If it's not, Florida Masons, stop texting me, stop calling me, stop emailing me, because you got to solve your own problems for Floridians. You need to get audience with your Grand Master. I don't think I would just hope that maybe he's not as unreasonable as some people are portraying. I don't know him, so I don't have any reason to say he's unreasonable or reasonable. I don't know. But the stuff that we're seeing, and these may or may not be ownership entities of assets and stuff that's getting bought, names of management companies, purchase agreement, couple of shell corporations, but just interesting things just in general. That's for another time. So thanks for watching the Old Fashion Masonic Podcast in Florida. Let's get it fixed. You boys have some work to do there. Thanks.